finished reading Volume 7 and Volumes 8 of Zombie Loan by Peach Pit. Overall, I'm enjoying this series. Volume 7 I gave 4 stars to, and Volume 8 3 stars. There's a story arc in here where our main characters are kind of caught in this alternate reality. I found it very interesting and intriguing. Characters are kind of separated and trying to get back together and get out of this reality. And Volume 8 is sort of all wraps up, but it kind of gets really confusing towards the second half of the book, and lots of unfinished sentences and thoughts and things that they tend to do a lot in this series, and it gets a little frustrating, so for that I gave it 3 stars. But I will be continuing this as soon as I get Volume 9. Next I read 1984 by George Orwell. This is a classic dystopian novel about a totalitarian government known as the Party, run by a mysterious figure that no one ever sees, called Big Brother. And we get that saying, Big Brother is watching, from this book. This is about a government that only wants power. They don't care about making the world better for their people. They just want the power over the people. There's a constant state of war between the 3 major superstates over territory that don't belong to anybody. There's constant shifting of alliances. But if the Party says that Oceania, where our main character Winston Smith lives, is currently at war with East Asia, they've always been at war with East Asia. We have the Ministry of Truth, whose job it is to make history match what the Party says is the truth. So Winston Smith happens to work at the Ministry of Truth, so it's his job to rewrite history. We have the thought police that control people. They are constantly watching to see if there's any rebellious thoughts going on, and if they decide someone needs to be removed from society, either sent to forced labor camps or eliminated permanently, it's Winston's job to rewrite history so that person never existed, because nobody would turn against the Party. Can't be seen to be any rebellion going on. They control everything. There is their motto, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. So why would you want freedoms? You have to make decisions. It's more challenging in people's lives. They take that away from you and give you, their control, so you don't have to worry about freedom. I think Winston Smith, as the story goes on, is slowly starting to rebel. Writes in a journal, writes his thoughts down. This is very dangerous if anybody finds this. He meets a girl named Julia who slips him a note that says, I love you, on it, and the two start to develop a relationship. That's equally dangerous because it's the Party who decides who you will have a relationship with, who you will marry. The two start talking and want to find ways to rebel even more against the Party, and they meet a man named O'Brien, a member of the inner party, the elite, who has more, power on and control of things, and he might be able to get things done. And there's a mysterious group, I believe it's called the Brotherhood, that they think is against the Party. So they want to find ways to kind of join that and have more actionable rebellion. By the time the story is over, he's going to betray one and be betrayed by the other. It's just a really amazing dystopian, amazing world building. The whole invention of newspeak I thought was pretty fascinating. There's an appendix towards the back, which you can read either at the end or at a point in the story where it kind of discusses it. I kind of read it when I came across it, and it shows just the amount of control that the government even does with the language. They decide that there's so many unnecessary words that just add confusion. So why do you need words like good and bad when you could just use good and ungood? And if it's really bad, just say double ungood or double plus ungood. It's just the ridiculousness of it, but it doesn't matter if it makes the lives of the people better. The Party just wants the power over the people, and it's just so dark and disturbing, especially things like with the thought police, where children are told that if they suspect their parents of having rebellious or traitorous thoughts, that they are to turn them in to the thought police. It just shows that anybody can be broken at any time. And there's that terror that you find out about Room 101, what's lurking in Room 101 that the thought police will take you to. It's creepy, scary, very dark. I suppose back when it was written in 1949, looking forward, you're wondering, will society end up that way somewhere? I read this book first time before 1984, so that was kind of an interesting perspective, and now looking back on it and, seeing, video cameras everywhere. In homes, in, shopping malls, red light corners, and people's cell phones everywhere. You're being watched. So one step closer. Anyway, fascinating book. I recommend everybody pick it up and read it, and I give it 5 stars. Next, I participated in Booktubeathon, and that was a week-long readathon where I read 5 books, this bunch right here. I've already filmed a wrap-up for that and discussed the books and what I felt about them, so you can go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link to my wrap-up down below. Next, I read Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This is the story of the many lives of Ursula Todd. We begin in the book in 1930, where Ursula is embarked on a very dangerous mission, and at the conclusion of that mission, the story jumps back in time to 1910, and we witness the day of her birth, and she basically dies before she can take her first breath because the cord's wrapped around her neck, and it's the middle of winter, and the doctor can't get there in time to save her life. The story starts again, 1910, the day of her birth. This time the doctor's there in time and is able to cut the cord, and she's able to take her first breath. The story kind of keeps restarting over and over again, and the whole book is sort of a journey trying to find, you might say, the right path to ultimately reach that destination that we see at the beginning of this book. It shows how the subtle decisions you make in your life, or sometimes decisions beyond your control, or events in your life, how it can divert the path where your life is meant to go. We don't know how many lives she has in this. It's beautifully written the way it kind of, one life ends and another begins, almost like an alternate life. It's told in rich detail. It spans 2 world wars. It takes Ursula right through the Blitz and the bombing of Berlin, and it's told in such vivid and horrific detail, and also very touching as well. You see the resolve of the English people, to keep calm and carry on in the face of imminent, danger, never knowing when a bomb will be dropped right on top of you. You see how Ursula, even the decisions she makes, affects the people around her, and how their lives change as well, just because of her impact on them. It's beautifully told, beautifully written. We see rich detail with her family as well. She has 4 other siblings. One of them is Teddy, who actually has a companion novel written about him called The God in Ruins, which I plan on reading next. And also would like to read several other of her books. I really enjoyed the writing. There's her Aunt Izzy, who has an important part in her life as well, and she could easily have a book of her own. She's a very interesting character. It was just really, really beautiful, unique story. Not come across one like that. It was almost like reading a video game in a way, but the way that it just sort of kind of keeps restarting. Game over. How many lives do you have left to kind of restart and try again? And we see such growth with this character with each rebirth. In some cases she's sort of aware of it. It's almost like a deja vu feeling. But in some cases she can use what she thinks she needs to change the course of her life, and in some cases it just happens accidentally. But like I said, it was beautifully written, and I enjoyed every moment of it. It's one that you will find difficult to put down as you're reading it. Definitely a 5-star read for me. One of the last books I read in July was Skullduggery Pleasant, Playing with Fire by Derek Landy. This is the 2nd book in the series, and I've been really enjoying it so far. They're really quick reads. The typeface is quite wide-spaced. A lot of magic within these, excitement, danger, and a lot of humor. The humor is the part I probably like the best. We have our undead detective, Skullduggery, and his partner in training, Valkyrie. She's slowly learning the skills that are kind of hidden within her, like throwing fire and things like that. This particular one, the 2 face 3 of the deadliest killers in the world, and they are trying to resurrect this horrific beast of immense power, and they have to try and stop that, or it could be the end of the world. Grandiose scale, real stereotypical evil creatures or evil characters. Just a lot of fun. Like I said, the humor in these are my favorite. So I gave this one 5 stars. I can't wait to read the rest. And there are quite a few. There's this whole stack right here. Is all part of the Skullduggery. So July was overall a good month. 10 books read. 2 at the bottom were my absolute favorite, and I really enjoyed this manga. Let me know if you guys have read any of these below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.